In a busy city, a guy in a red suit gets a phone call. He picks it up and says, "Yes, manager." His manager's stern voice comes through the line. "You're heading to meet the client without being late, right? 5:30 at Lunar Hotel Cafe. He said he'll be waiting with a yellow handkerchief." Han Seongmin nods to himself as he responds, "Yes, I'm almost there." The manager's voice turns sharper. "I'm repeating this. If you can't satisfy the customer this time, I'm going to kick you out. Got it?" Seongmin sighs and replies, "I know. Remember, Seongmin, this is your last chance," the manager says before abruptly hanging up. Seongmin looks at his phone, sighing deeply as he continues walking toward the meeting place. He feels the weight of the manager's words pressing down on him. Han Seongmin is a rent boy. In return for payment, he provides services to people. As he walks through the bustling city, he takes another deep sigh and mutters to himself, "I really hate this." His thoughts drift to his past. Before he became an adult, he had run away from the orphanage. With limited options for work, he eventually gravitated toward the red light district. As a minor, the system had failed to protect him, leaving him with no other choice. His good looks had made it easy to earn money, but this line of work was never something he wanted. He loathed it. Yet, despite his natural appearance, his performance was never considered excellent. Whenever he failed to satisfy a client, his manager would berate him endlessly. Sometimes, the manager would go as far as to say, "If you fail again, I'll sell you off to a salt farm." It wasn't the first time he'd been warned, but this time felt different. He couldn't afford another mistake. Determined, he muttered to himself, "I have to do well this time. There cannot be any other mistake." Checking his phone, Seongmin notices the time. 5:23 p.m. His meeting is at 5:30 p.m. He realizes he's arrived a little early, which he thinks is a good thing. Standing outside the cafe, he wonders to himself, would they have arrived yet? As he looks around the cafe, his eyes land on a man sitting and reading at one of the tables. The man is wearing a black suit with a yellow handkerchief tucked into his pocket. That must be him, Seongmin thinks, his heart skipping a beat. Excitedly, he exclaims under his breath, "I found you." Taking a deep breath, he gulps nervously. "Let's focus and finish this quickly," he says, giving himself a quick pep talk as he approaches the man. When Seongmin reaches the table, he puts on his brightest smile and greets the man. "That's a beautiful handkerchief," he says cheerfully. The man in the black suit lowers whatever he was reading and looks up at Seongmin with a slightly confused expression. He doesn't respond immediately, making Seongmin's nerves spike. The hell? Seongmin thinks, trying to keep his cool. This guy is very good looking. What could someone like him possibly be lacking that he would call for this kind of service? But he immediately shakes the thought away, reminding himself that it's not his place to care. Outwardly, Seongmin maintains his weak smile and motions with his hand. "Shall we skip the introductions and head straight to the hotel?" he says, trying to sound casual. The man in the black suit frowns slightly, his confusion deepening. "Hotel?" he asks hesitantly. Seongmin nods quickly, trying to steer the conversation. "Yes, it's quite chilly today," he says, gesturing to his thin red suit. "And I'm dressed a little bit too lightly." Han Seongmin rubs his hands together, feigning a shiver to emphasize the supposed chill in the air. However, instead of reacting as expected, the man in the black suit simply sits there, staring at him for an uncomfortably long time. The silence stretches, and Seongmin begins to sweat nervously. Why is there no reaction? Seongmin thinks, glancing at the man who now sports a slight frown. Usually, other clients are always eager to head to the hotel. What's going on with this one? His mind begins to wander. Could it be? He recalls the rare type of clients he occasionally encounters. those who are in denial about their identity. They take the initial leap to call management but become hesitant when it's time to follow through. Normally, I'd welcome this kind of hesitation, he muses, since it would mean not having to do something I don't want to do. But this time, the timing was terrible. If I go back empty-handed, I'm done for. Determined to make it work, Seongmin takes the initiative. Leaning forward on the table, he locks eyes with the man in the suit. I know, he says softly, his voice tinged with reassurance. You don't have the conviction to go through with it, do you? He pauses briefly to let the words sink in before continuing. I'll ensure you don't feel that kind of doubt. I'm a professional. The man's gaze sharpens, observing Seongmin's every move with unnerving precision. Undeterred, Seongmin reaches out and places a hand on the man's shoulder. I'll make sure you don't even have to lift a finger, he adds, his tone confident. I'll handle everything. As long as you promise to give me a good review. Pulling out a sleek business card, Seongmin slides it across the table toward the man. How about it? He asks with a practiced smile. The man takes the card without a word, examining it closely. As he reads the information, his expression shifts. His lips curl into a knowing smirk, and he chuckles softly. Fine, the man finally says, standing up. It's only now, as he rises to his full height, that Seongmin realizes just how tall the man is. He stares up at him, internally marveling, wow, he's really tall. The man, now smiling in a way that feels both friendly and slightly intimidating, says, then let's go. Seongmin regains his composure and quickly takes the card back from the man, slipping it into his pocket. He gestures toward the exit and says, this way. As Han Seongmin begins leading the man in the black suit toward the hotel, another man in a gray suit stands nearby, scanning the area. This man is also wearing a yellow handkerchief in his pocket. Looking increasingly frustrated, he pulls out his phone, sweat dripping down his temple as he mutters, is he not here yet? His face twists in dissatisfaction as he continues glancing around. The scene changes to a luxurious hotel room. Han Seongmin is in the bathroom, taking a shower. As the warm water runs down his back, his thoughts wander. How much longer do I have to keep doing this until I'm finished? He wonders bitterly. A deep sigh escapes his lips as he closes his eyes, momentarily overwhelmed by his circumstances. A few minutes later, Han Seongmin steps out of the bathroom, still drying his hair. He freezes for a moment when he sees the man in the black suit sitting calmly, sipping whiskey over ice. The man seems entirely at ease. The man glances at Han Seongmin as he enters the room and says casually, you said I don't have to lift a finger. Han Seongmin, still drying his hair with a smaller towel, replies cautiously, I did. Good, the man responds, setting his glass down on the side table. Then I'll leave everything to you. Seongmin observes him closely, his confusion growing. The hell? What is with this guy? What kind of reaction is this? He wonders. This was not the behavior he was expecting from a client. The man in the suit then gets up, stretching slightly, and says, I'm heading to order room service. You mentioned you were hungry, right? I'll take care of it. As soon as the man disappears into the adjoining room, Han Seongmin's eyes dart toward his belongings. He was already fed up by this client's unusual behavior, and he decided to run away uncaring for the consequences. This is my chance, he says. I'll use this opportunity to run away. Without wasting another second, he grabs his things, quietly opens the door, and slips out of the room as fast as he can. When the man in the black suit returns to the room and finds it empty, his reaction is immediate. At first, his face turns bright red with anger, and he shouts, You ran away and left me? His voice echoes in the empty space. But just moments later, his expression changes to a twisted smirk. He chuckles darkly and mutters to himself. Whatever. He was annoying anyway. The tension in the room is broken by a knock at the door. The man's smirk fades as he straightens up. Room service, a voice calls from the other side. Come in, the man says. A hotel staff member enters, pushing a cart laden with food. The man in the black suit waves them toward the table, saying, "Leave it there." "Yes, sir," the staff member replies, setting the dishes on the table. But as the man in the black suit turns his back, the staff member silently pulls out a knife beneath the cart. In a split second, they lunge toward the man, aiming to strike him from behind. The scene changes to a director's office. The second-in-command is shouting at the support team, his voice filled with fury. "What were you bastards doing?" he bellows, glaring at the kneeling bodyguards. "How could you let a member of another organization infiltrate the hotel?" One of the bodyguards bows lower, his head nearly touching the ground. "We deeply apologize, sir. It was an oversight, but the second-in-command is having none of it." "Oversight? Do you understand the gravity of this? How come you were not aware that someone from another organization was in the hotel?" Before he can continue his tirade, the director himself intervenes. "Enough. Stop it now," he orders sharply, his tone calm but authoritative. The bodyguards fall silent, their heads still bowed. One of them speaks up hesitantly. "We didn't check the hotel's schedule beforehand. It was our failure. We are very sorry, sir. We will reflect on our mistakes." The director sits there quietly observing his bandaged hands. He reflects on what happened at the hotel. His brows furrow deeply, anger simmering beneath his calm exterior. If he hadn't reacted quickly enough, it could have been disastrous. The assassin's blade had only managed to graze the palm of his hand, but it was too close for comfort. He clenches his injured hand, feeling the sting of the wound but more focused on his anger. Was this a setup? Was I coaxed into that hotel intentionally? Could that weird guy have been in on this? His mind flashes back to Seongmin's unexpected approach at the cafe, his eagerness, and then his abrupt escape from the hotel room. That bastard followed me. He must have been part of this. His jaw tightens as his rage bubbles to the surface. "I'll destroy him," he growls, slamming his good hand onto the desk. Turning to his second-in-command, Du Shik, he orders, "Find me that guy. I want him found immediately."